Hi, I'm Srilu Balla.
And I am Michael Larsen, and we want to welcome you to PNSQ Chronicles, which is the podcast for the Pacific Northwest Software Quality Conference. I am on the road today, so I am actually calling in from a hidden bunker. At least that's what it sounds like. I'm not sure what you're hearing, but I sound somewhat remote, so I have graciously asked if Srilu will lead this conversation today. So, Srilu, over to you.
Thank you, Michael. It's me, Srilu. Today we have Kristin. Kristin is amazing. She has come to us with amazing topics. She's also a speaker, and also she's conducting a workshop for test automation for absolute beginners with Cypress. So, Kristin, welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about your workshop. So for your workshop, you're helping manual testers get started with Cypress and automation. What mental shift or learning habit do you think is most important for testers making that transition?
I think the most important mental shift is to take one step at a time, just one little step at a time. I think what often happens with manual testers who are trying to learn automation is that they try to learn it all at once. And then they run into challenges right away because let's face it, I mean, creating software and running software is complicated. And so when they hit a hurdle, they usually say, oh, I can't do this, and they give up. So one of the things that my workshop is really designed to do is to give information to everybody in like little tiny bites at a time. So we're going to learn how to run commands from the command line. And then we're going to learn how to create a Node.js project. And then we're going to learn how to install Cypress. And so little steps at a time with little exercises so that everyone can feel gradually more comfortable. And I think that will really help.
That is amazing. Sometimes I use the analogy like if testing is if you're like walking, automation is you're driving in a car. You're gonna miss out on some things. You're not going to be able to cover everything you can do while walking through the thing, but they're completely different experiences. And oh my God, you're gonna teach them like from the installation. That's amazing. Oh, that is so needed too. Thank you. Thank you. Michael?
Now, in addition, we should mention that not only is Kristin going to be giving a workshop on the first day, but she is also a speaker, and her topic for her talk is dealing with difficult or large or sometimes both testing projects. Now, I definitely have a feeling for that. I know what it feels like to walk into an environment with a complex, long-standing project, and you are now given the keys to the kingdom and said, go forth and conquer. Yikes! It can be a very scary feeling. So you're talking about managing these complicated projects. Very often we don't get a green field where we can just start and play with this all brand new. Oftentimes we get handed legacy systems, little to no documentation. We don't know who's worked on it before. We have files pointing to folders, pointing to modules that where do you start? Like, what's your first step in trying to organize something like that?
Well, I think when you're presented with a legacy system that you don't know anything about and has no documentation, the very first thing you need to do is exploratory testing. You need to start to interact with that system to find out as much as you possibly can about it. And I actually have an example of that. This was several years ago at a previous company. We were charged with migrating a legacy system from one set of servers to a new set of servers. And it was a very, very important system where if we messed this up, millions of people would not get paid. So it was very important, but there was no documentation about how it worked. And everyone who had worked on that system was no longer with the company. So we were just operating completely in the dark. And so what I did with the developers that I was working with is we just started testing. We started figuring out, how does this work? What happens if I do this? What happens if I do this? And we gradually started documenting things. And once we understood the system, then we were able to do the migration.
That's amazing. I had a similar experience 15 years ago, and it was an HR and payroll system. It was a ERP from before I was born. I didn't even know they made software that old. And yes, I had to go in and do, but I had a test environment. So yeah, I went nuts. And so we did have a few QA that have been working on the system for 15 years of their life. 15 years. They never had any test cases though.
Oh,
So
wow.
no documentation. So guess what? When I explored the thing and found out certain things, certain features that they thought were working in a certain way, they never, ever, ever worked in that way. They were working in a completely different way. And that's how it was functioning for like 37 years. So,
Wow.
so yeah, I always say software is highly manipulatable. So manipulate it and learn about it. Sorry. Yes.
So the key that we want to do here, now we've got, again, the whole point of this is we want to encourage, if these topics sound interesting to you out there, we want to, of course, encourage you to come to PNSQC and listen to them in person or be able to listen to them virtually. Now, if you want to attend the workshop, you have to be here. But if you want to listen to the talk, you have two options. You can be part of the attendees in Portland, or you can join the conference virtually. And to that end, I do realize, of course, that there are going to be people who are going to be listening to this. This is going to be a fascinating topic for them, but for various reasons, they may not be able to do either. So I do know that you have made a number of resources for the community at large. And so with that, and because of that, for those that can't be here, but they'd love to pick your brain a little bit, get to know more about what they can do, how can people get in touch with you? And maybe what resources would you steer them towards first?
Oh, okay. Well, the best way to get in touch with me is to go, well, actually, two ways. You can go to LinkedIn, you can find me there, or you can go to my website, which is thinkingtester.com, where I've got all of my resources there. I have published two books, and I actually have a third book on the way coming out in August, so I'm very excited about that. I've got a couple courses. There's a LinkedIn Learning course about Postman. And then I also have a free YouTube course about getting started with test automation. So if for some reason you can't attend the workshop, you can also try my free YouTube course. But the workshop is going to be a lot better because I'm going to be holding your hand through the entire thing.
Nothing beats hands-on.
Yeah.
Definitely. I have personal experience. YouTube is helpful, definitely, but as a backup. You
Yep.
definitely want the in-person experience completely.
We're going to have a lot of fun too at the
Definitely.
workshop. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Kristin, for telling us about you, the workshop, and how to meet you and everything. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.